All right, we're getting in a major update on the downed US F-15E Strike Eagle over Iran. We're learning that the second crew member has now been rescued. US officials are confirming that the second crew member has also been safely retrieved. It remains to be seen what is the health condition as far as this pilot is concerned. But today is day 37 of the West Asia War, and reports on the missing US crew member, they have, in fact, US officials have now confirmed that the second crew member has also been safely retrieved. On that, let me go across to my colleague Rishabh, who's been tracking all the details. Rishabh, we are getting a breaking news that the second pilot, as far as the downed F-15E fighter jet is concerned, he has been recovered.
Well, there is a claim versus claim, what we are giving to understand. Akansha, while U.S. sources tell Al Jazeera that they have recovered the second...
Stay on with us. Let me go across to our managing editor, Zaka Jacob. Good morning, Zaka. Take us through how crucial this is, because we're learning so far that the second pilot in this case has also been recovered.
Absolutely. He's been missing for the last couple of days now, since Friday when this F-15 Strike Eagle was brought down inside Iran, and there was a massive manhunt and rescue operation that was launched. We're also getting visuals from the ground there. A lot of social media accounts are posting visuals of what is reported to be a firefight between either Basij militia, which is the local paramilitary force in Iran, or IRGC members, along with the U.S. search and rescue team that was sent in to try and rescue this second crew member, the second airman, who was missing in Iran for the last almost 48 hours now, since this F-15 Strike Eagle went down. So Al Jazeera is now reporting, it's the first mainstream channel that is first reporting, courtesy a U.S. government official who has spoken to them, that the second airman has been rescued. He was a weapon system operator in this F-15 Strike Eagle that went down in Iran on Friday. Reportedly, he was sitting behind. The pilot had ejected successfully. He was rescued and he was receiving treatment, the last we heard. And this individual, the airman, has also now been reportedly rescued by U.S. Special Forces in what could only be termed as one of the most daring extraction operations that we've ever seen, not just in this war, but perhaps even in military history.
Absolutely. And Zaka, also do take us through what has happened in the last 24 hours, because we're learning that 2 of the U.S. warplanes were shot down. 3 pilots so far, they all have been recovered. In this particular case, just some time back, in fact, we're learning that the pilot has been recovered. But do take us through, jog our memory through what has happened in the last 24 hours.
So I think the fact that the second pilot has been extracted successfully, he is reportedly back now in U.S. forces' hands. If this is true, this is a huge, clearly a huge relief for the Trump administration, because if he was in Iranian captivity, if he had been taken as hostage by the Iranian military or paramilitary, that would have changed the contours of this war. It would have put a big premium on the Trump administration and its proposed plans for some kind of a ground operation. It would have been seen as some kind of a deterrent factor, at least from the Iranian point of view. But now that Al Jazeera is reporting, courtesy a U.S. official who has told them that they have successfully managed to extract the second airman, who was a weapon system operator in the F-15 Strike Eagle, I think it's clear that President Trump will likely announce this from his Truth Social very soon. You will also hear from U.S. government officials, and mainstream U.S. media will report this. Remember, this is Easter Sunday morning. As we enter Easter Sunday morning in the U.S., it's going to be a big sort of announcement from the U.S. government confirming that the second airman has been rescued. So which means all pilots have been accounted for. And Trump yesterday in his Truth Social also saying that he's giving a 48-hour deadline for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. So that's going to be Monday. And if the Strait is not opened fully, according to him, then Iran will have hell to pay. So I think we're moving towards a much more escalatory phase of this conflict. And already you're hearing this morning, multiple reports from different Gulf countries of, oil refineries being hit, commercial buildings being hit. There were reports of American multinational companies being targeted in the Gulf region. We're also hearing a report from Bahrain this morning about Bapco, an oil refinery, one of the major oil refineries there, being hit as well. I think what you're going to see as we go through the next 24 to 48 hours is that once this news is confirmed by U.S. government officials, Trump will likely make a statement on Truth Social very soon about the extraction and the recovery of this second airman. I think what you will see is the U.S. government will give a go-ahead for further escalatory military operations in Iran. Whether or not that will lead to any kind of a solution to this war, I'm not sure, because it's clear that Iran has also shown over these last few days that they can match the Americans' military tactic for military tactic. So I think we're moving towards a much more devastating phase of this war.
All right, so it remains to be seen what Donald Trump has to say on this, because in the last few hours, he has been awfully quiet as far as this incident is concerned. Zaka, could you also shed light on how this was a big setback for the U.S. military, because they've not had a jet shot down by enemy fire in more than 20 years. The last time it happened was in 2003 during the Iraq war. So tell us more about this as well.
Yes, so CNN had put out a report from authentic U.S. government and U.S. military officials that as many as 7 aircraft had gone down, including this F-15 Strike Eagle, which of course is a dual-role combat aircraft. There were 2 pilots, 2 members on board the Strike Eagle. The pilot ejected safely and was rescued, and now the weapons systems operator, the second airman, who was sitting in the back seat in this F-15 Strike Eagle, he too has been rescued. That's what Al Jazeera is reporting. So as many as 7 aircraft is what CNN had reported, including not just this F-15 Strike Eagle, but also an A-10 Warthog, which was shot down. This was an aircraft that was trying to provide some kind of close air support. It was an aircraft that was involved in the search and rescue for this missing airman. Also, Iran has claimed that an F-35 Lightning, which is the 6th-generation fighter jet multi-role combat aircraft, was also brought down. So again, if this is true, it will be the first time that an F-35 is being brought down in active combat. It is supposed to be the most advanced multi-role combat aircraft anywhere in the world. It's a 6th-generation fighter aircraft, and Iran has claimed that they've brought down an F-35 as well. In addition to which, there have been multiple instances reported in the last month of this war about refueling aircraft, about AWACS aircraft, also drones, the MQ-9 Reaper drones, which are at the forefront of this war, which the American Navy and the American military use. Those two, over a dozen of those Reaper drones have also been reportedly brought down. So the total estimate of all of these, multi-million-dollar weapon systems that have been brought down runs perhaps into billions, is what we're given to understand. So this would be, in terms of damages that the U.S. military has taken, it is substantial, it is significant, and like you said, it's perhaps the first time in the last 20 years that they have suffered this kind of reversals. But if you were to look at the big picture, Trump is really digging his heels in. If you look at his address that happened last week to the American people on April 1, he has said that this war will continue for another 2 to 3 weeks. And I suspect that once this news is officially put out by the U.S. government that the second airman has been successfully extricated from Iran, then what you will see is even more bombardment, even more devastation, and an even more escalatory phase of this war.
Absolutely, and there's no de-escalation in sight. It remains to be seen what Donald Trump has to say as far as the recovery of the second pilot is also concerned. Thank you so much, Zaka, for getting us all those details and bringing perspective on that. Let me also go across to Arsen Singh. Thank you so much, sir, for connecting with us. How do you look at this? Because a lot has happened in the last 24 hours. 2 of the U.S. warplanes have been shot down. There was 1 pilot that was missing. Iran had announced a bounty on his head. Hunt was on not just by the United States, but also by Iran to locate him in the southwest of the country. What is your take on this?
No, aircraft F-35 being shot down by some kind of an air defense weapon. That's not a big issue for me, because they had gone for a ground support, ground strike role. Earlier, as I said, that most engagements were taking place from high altitude, So they were flying much lower, and they had sent in a package of, I'm told, 22 aircraft. So 1 aircraft being shot is coming down is not much of an issue. But yes, what was What was, I would say, worrying was that what would happen if this pilot had been caught alive by the Iranians. Now, there were so many possibilities. One, I am for very certain that they would have made a big bargaining chip out of him. Probably he would have been paraded on the streets or something like that, or if nothing had worked out, he could have been hanged, publicly. Anything could have happened. So to that extent, for the Americans, it is a big relief. And also it shows the capability of America to, to rescue its people. And wherever this, the other, assessment is that wherever he had, ejected, probably that area is not infested with Iranian, troops or any kind of, defense apparatus there. So that is another takeaway. And third is, of course, I mean, it would have caused a huge embarrassment, for Trump, because look at as I see the detractors of US, they are looking for such opportunities.
Absolutely, because two of the warplanes belonging to US, they have been targeted, and this has come as a big setback for the US military as well, because in the last 20 years, none of their jets have been shot down like this by the enemy fire. The last time it happened, as we told you, was in 2003 during the Iraq war. Thank you so much, sir, for connecting with us and bringing your perspective on this. Let me also go across to Praful Bakshi, defense expert. Thank you so much, sir, for connecting with us. Iran has shot down two of US's warplanes. In fact, they had also announced the bounty on the head of one of the pilots that was missing. He has now been recovered as far as the US is concerned. But do you think this has come in as a setback for the US military? Because in the last few days, Donald Trump was in fact saying that the naval, the aerial, the military capability as far as Iran is concerned in this war, it has been completely wiped out.
Thank you very much, but that is a part of the propaganda machine which every country uses. They undermine the enemy, their systems, their air defense systems, their offensive system, and exaggerate their own capability. That is a part of the game. But whatever the case may be, here it is surprising thing is that there are parties within Iran territory helping the enemy to recover. So this pilot has been rescued. He has been rescued because the local support must have been there. The underground elements must have been there, supported by Mossad. And that is Mossad because Mossad had established itself in Iran territory long back when Iran and Iraq were at war. That is the time when they established themselves. So that network works very well. It worked last year also in 2025, and it's working now. So what I would like to tell you, first thing is, air defense system of Iran, they say they may not have air defense fighters, but they certainly have the air defense missiles. They certainly have other missiles also, offensive missiles. So, and the radar system is not bad. It is good. It is not only picking up at low level, at high level, anything, and even in mountainous terrain, their pickup capability through clutter of this radar is exceptionally good.
Right.
So we must understand that Iran is not that Colombia or something, or Venezuela, that it'll collapse straight away. It is giving a very tough fight, and this is a time that American people and the American forces have to realize that they are up against something very strong and not,
All right, the next 24 hours are going to be very important because Donald Trump has set a deadline. But as far as this particular recovery of the pilot from the downed F-15 fighter jet is concerned, it remains to be seen what he has to say, because in the last few hours, he has been awfully quiet as far as this incident is concerned. Thank you so much, sir, for connecting with us. And with this, a very short break. More news and updates on the other side.